Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about if going from an automatic transmission to a manual transmission is worth it or not. So as you can see behind me, if you guys are new here, this is my 2001 Mustang GT. It actually came with an automatic transmission, but as of a few months ago, I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago maybe, but I actually did manual swap the car. And now whenever you do that, you actually have to have like a drive shaft and clutch cable, different like transmission obviously, and all that type of stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. So today I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on if it was worth it or not. And to be honest, if the car has absolutely no meaning to you, which this car has a lot of meaning to me, it was my first car and everything, and if it has no meaning to you, it's probably easier just to go and sell the automatic car and go try to find a manual car. But this one had tons of meaning to me, and that's the only reason I really did it to this car. And I mean, obviously, because all this other stuff was done to the car before, because I mean, I've built this car from stock basically, and it kind of would have sucked to like start over, if that makes any sense. Along with all those parts, you gotta think about some of the stuff that you have to do. Now, with my car, I did have to retune it, which that's only because the ECU was still reading that it was an automatic transmission if I wouldn't have retuned it. And so I had to retune the ECU, that way I could tell that it's a different transmission in the car and everything. But some cars you might not have to do this, and maybe other cars I'm pretty sure you have to get a whole entire different ECU. It really all just depends on the car. I will say that I haven't had any regret since I've done the swap. It's been nothing but joy to me, I guess, and I've really just loved it. It is a lot of money though. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about some of the pricing stuff, because sometimes it can get pretty expensive if you took a route like me, which I was actually fortunate enough to find a whole entire swap kit on eBay. And I don't know if you'll be able to do that for most cars, probably not. You might, I don't know. But I was able to find a whole entire kit that had everything that you need. I had it shipped here, and I actually did take it to a shop just because I was on a time crunch. There's a big event on the East Coast that actually is called Mustang Week. It's just like, so I was trying to get the swap done before Mustang Week happened and everything. That's the only reason I didn't do it myself, because I mean, I'm no mechanic or anything, so it'd take me a while. I would have liked to be able to try myself, but I was on a time crunch, so it was a lot easier just to take it to a shop. These prices aren't gonna be the same for every single car, just because depending on like what stuff you get and everything. But for this car, I did end up finding a manual swap kit. I think it was like $1,900 off of eBay. And then for the shop to install it, I think it was around $2,200, $2,300. So all in all, it was above $4 grand for the whole entire thing. If you did go to a junkyard and pull all the parts yourself, install it yourself, you'll probably way cheaper than what. The only reason it got so expensive for me is because I bought a kit that already had everything else there, and I had somebody else install it instead of me, plus a tune and all that. It definitely can get pretty pricey if you don't watch what you're doing. But I will say that doing the whole entire swap, I definitely do think it's worth it if the car has some kind of meaning to you. But if it's just a light car that you just bought and you just wanted to manual swap it or something, I mean, I would just go ahead and try to go find a manual car. It'd be a lot easier and probably a lot cheaper. And yeah, and plus, sometimes it just like depends if you're worried about resale value or something. I would try to keep the transmission that came in the car, just because some people freak out about some of that stuff and everything. But if you're somebody like me that just really doesn't care and you're not really saving it for the next person or anything, I would go ahead and do it. But that's pretty much some of my thoughts on it. I'm sure I missed out tons of stuff. I did go film some like yesterday or the day before. I just went and took some pictures and drove around the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some of those clips in.